we made it to another day. It's January 13th, 2018, and I want to go live again like I try to do daily in the evenings. I pick a specific topic that I like to talk about during the live feeds, and then as viewers join the live stream, I take their comments, I read them, we have dialogue, and I'm open to talk about anything sex, politics, religion, because that's part of life and that's part of being a well rounded person, talking about different issues and growing. Um, as always, if you have a comment, leave it. If you enjoy the live stream, please hit the like button. If you don't know the channel, you can subscribe. But outside of that, I'll just go into my live structured topic for tonight. Now, I named it Taking Away Your Kid's Phone May Hurt Them. Tammy's checking in on the live comments. Tammy's from the Philippines. Hey, Sammy, she says, hey, not Tammy, I said, I'm sorry, Tammy, I'm thinking Tammy. Hey, Meadow on the live stream. How are you, Meadow? Are you working today? What time is it in the Philippines? Thank you for joining. Thank you for staying positive. Hope you're having a good day. How are your cats? Tammy has a couple cats, too, or at least one cat, I think. So good to see you, Tammy. I hope you had a good day. Taking away your kid's phone may hurt them. That's what I named this live feed. I want to talk about Tammy is on it. Tammy left a comment. Tammy's from Florida. Hey, Tammy, how are you? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying positive. And I want to talk about technology tonight and how it changed my life and how it started at an early age, and how it affects today's society, and my thoughts on it. Meadow says on the live comments, working now, it's 8:25 a.m. in the Philippines. They're good. Thanks, Sam. And she gave the cat face emoji. Tammy has some cats. Not Tammy, Meadow. Meadow, how many cats do you have? But years passed in society. Fear on the live comments. Hey, Sam. Nice to listen to you again. Nice to have you. It's good to have everyone on the live chats to have healthy conversation and to feel connected. To know that you're not alone, whether you're watching me in the Philippines like Meadow, whether you're watching me in Florida like Tammy, or wherever you are, Fear. It's a beautiful thing. Tammy says she's doing great and she's enjoying the nice weather. That's good, Tammy. I'm glad. It's starting to it was very warm yesterday for this time of year on the tri-state area in America, but starting to cool down. And I'm glad you're having good temperatures. A beautiful time of year to be in Florida. And of course, it's one of my favorite states in America. And Joe from the UK is on the live check-ins. Whether you're watching in the UK like Joe, he says, exclamation mark with the smiley blushing face. That's right. Let's not forget about Joe from the UK, the United Kingdom. Blessings and love to my brother across the Atlantic Ocean. Hope you're having a good day, Joe. I know it's late in the evening for Joe. Thank you for checking in. And I hope you're doing well, brother. I really do. And what I want to focus the structure topic around tonight is technology. Now, in years past, society evolved to the industrial era, meaning we went from horses to automobiles. You know, we went from making everything by hand to having industry, having machines assist and somewhat fully make items. And that really shifted society. It really changed the way things were done. And in the current era, we're in the technology era. And it's shifted society again. And certainly as time goes on, there'll be another shift. But I think it's very important that we understand the era that we're in and that we adapt to it. You know, when I was young, I used to play video games a lot. And my mother used to let me play the video games. She was fine with it. Of course, she wanted me to do some, homework and do the things I needed to do. But she embraced the fact that I liked playing video games, and she let me do it. And my father was a little bit stricter, but my parents got divorced at 8. So for the most part, during my childhood, I played a lot of video games. And, there was a lot of people that said, playing video games is not good. You need to not let your child play so much video games, etc., etc. But what video game playing helped me do was begin to understand how to interface with technology. And interface basically means how to use and how to function with technology as part of your thought process and as part of your problem solving. A video game is basically just a word problem. It's you trying to solve a problem, whether it's winning a virtual football game or whether it's Mario Brothers or whatever. It's it's you interfacing with technology to see, it's a mind game. And that helped me dramatically. I mean, just rebooting the Sega Genesis, just learning the different ports in back of a game console and how they hook into a TV. Those small bits of knowledge that helped me at a very early age when technology was just starting in the 90s. That was a huge benefit to me. And many parents shun their children away from that. Now, certainly I'll put everything in context. If you have someone who's irresponsible, it doesn't matter if they play video games or if they don't. I mean, if someone's going to be a bad person, they're going to be a bad person. But what I will say is that me learning those different adapter pieces that go from the video game console to the TV, me learning how to operate different gaming systems, and then that evolving into computers and desktops and laptops. That was all part of the foundational building which gave me an edge in my current job, even though it's in the technology field. Even though it's centered around a trade, being an electrical engineer, it's still in the technology industry. And every job currently in society has a level of interfacing with technology. If you work at Home Depot, if you work at a hardware store, inventory is stored basically through working on a tablet, scanning the barcode, moving certain data points from this inventory list, from the stock, to the, sold categories. When you go on a job interview, they're going to ask you about your software skills. Because just about any job you do, from Starbucks to Home Depot to a corporate job, your time card, even your time card, when you clock in, when you clock out, how you submit for your hours, that's all done through software programs. HR departments are mainly run through, programs like Dayforce and SAP and all these different type of things. And I say all that to say we need to understand that in the current era that we're in and for the near future, understanding technology, not fearing it, embracing it, teaching it, spending time with it, benefits you and your family. And it gives you greater power in the workforce. It's people who fight that change in that part of society that struggled more. Your number one resource in today's society, hands down, is your phone. Your mobile phone is hands down the best investment that you can spend your money on. Your phone is used for everything, not just entertainment, but for research, but for uploading a resume, for searching a job, for communicating with loved ones, for watching YouTube, everything. I think it's wisdom to spend $1,000 on a phone. I think it's foolish to spend $1,000 on a couch. A phone, investing $1,000 on a phone will bring you a return. In a technology era, hell yeah. Investing $1,000 on a couch will just basically let you sit on your ass. There's a reason that phones, high-end phones, cost more than TVs and cost more than laptops. The mobile phone is the hybrid of laptops. It's the most powerful resource that you have. You can pay at the register with your Apple Pay, your Samsung Pay. You can pay your bills through your phone. You can research different price points when you're shopping. You can attend conference calls. You can video conference people from around the world. Right now, if I hung up and I wanted to video conference with Meadow from the Philippines, or if I wanted to video conference Joe, I can do that right now. Taking away your kid's phone, or just having a mindset of that. Okay, you don't have to have children to understand what I'm trying to say. I'm trying, when you have that mindset of taking away technology, or technology is hurting people, it's a backwards facing mindset. It's the same mindset that fought automobiles and said, no, 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 we're going to ride horses. Automobiles are going to be the downfall of society. Anything powerful can be used for bad. So, there's always arguments that, phones, make this person bad or that person bad, but that's all BS. For the most part, I mean, again, if somebody's going to be bad, they're going to be bad no matter what, for the most part. I think it's more helpful to you to know how to use your phone well than to get a certain degree. Because I think if you had a couple degrees but you didn't know how to use your phone to upload a resume, I think you may struggle in the workforce. If you couldn't really manipulate emails through your phone and be able to respond quickly and open up different documents on your phone, and then shoot them to your laptop if you really need to do some detailed work, I think you would struggle in the workforce today. If you needed to do a YouTube tutorial on how to give somebody CPR, and you had your phone and you can do that right there, you may be able to save somebody's life. That's why in some third world countries, I know somebody who recently came back from India. And he said, Sam, people had cell phones but no shoes. Now, some people may say that's foolish, but that's wisdom. Because they know the cell phone gives them a greater ability and a greater return on investment than sometimes even shoes. Some people laugh at that, and that's a little bit of a problem. And that's a little bit of an extreme thing, but it's very important to be a well-rounded person, to utilize the tools in front of you at the current time in society and adapt to them. When I'm in the store, I see the lines sometimes crowded for a cash register that has a person, and I see the lines empty for the self-checkout line. Because many people don't want to use the self-checkout. They don't want to scan their own items and then pay it themselves. They want a register man or woman to scan them for them. And that person's, getting paid, I'm sure, close to minimum wage. Is that person smarter than you? No. Is that person dumb? No. Do they add a value? Sure. But what I'm trying to say is a lot of people just shy away from using technology. I go into the new McDonald's to get a Diet Coke, and now they have the touch screen. It's like a big iPad that you place your order and you pay right there. I use my Samsung Pay on my phone. Plenty of people go in there, they don't want anything to do with it. They say, oh, this machine's putting everyone out of business. I don't want anything to do with it. To their own downfall. I think if your punishment was to take away your kid's phone in a certain standpoint, I think you hurt them more than you helped them. I think in the technology era, when used responsibly, I mean, if anything, you should teach how to use something responsibly, but you should never shun a resource that helps you increase your knowledge. Every book available in the world online. You can watch an interview with the most knowledgeable, successful people just by going to your phone and punching it up and picking their brain. You don't have to go through a library and read 20 biographies to get something you can get in 15 minutes. You can listen to different people and just get their whole life story. Embracing technology and using it as an asset, using it as a resource is how you get an edge. Is how you move forward. Of course, you can use it for just silly things, but I can never I'm not speaking to those people. That's just a different, there's always going to be that level of people. I'm speaking to people who look for self-improvement, who try to keep going forward, for self-growth. Talked about last night, for writing a daily list, for documenting your diary, for keeping track of your bills. Taking away your kid's phone is really taking away a resource they're going to need in the future. They're not going to need to know really their multiplication table, to be honest with you. They're going to need to understand, how to do different functions on their phone. And I'm sure the phone is going to evolve, and that'll be a different way that there's an interface to that. But my point is the embracing of technology and the mindset of don't be scared of it. And many people aren't scared of it anymore, but there's always still a tendency to get stuck in your generation phone. I think buying a new phone every year, I think that's almost wisdom. I wouldn't go 2 years without buying a new phone. I think you get left behind. Technology era means things change rapidly quick. And I think when you operate off an old operating system, off an old operating phone, I think you lag behind. Your phone is your best investment. Forget Bitcoin. Forget a stock. Forget all that. Invest in your phone and utilize it. Utilize it for entertainment, fine. I do that. But also I utilize it for research. I also utilize it to connect with loved ones. I also utilize it for my work, for emails, for calendar invites, for tracking my bills, for researching, for using maps, all these different things. Technology, and your phone specifically, is your best investment you can make. Spend money on it. Spend time learning it. Listening to music on your phone. Huge blessing. That's mental health. Using a camera, using your camcorder on your phone. You shouldn't have 20 different GoPros and 3 different type of high range things. I mean, utilize what you have. Be efficient. Your phone has all those different resources. And why do you need them? For creativity. Creativity is part of self-improvement. Creativity is part of tapping a part of your brain that you need. You need more than just knowledge. And so you have the knowledge when you Google different things. I use Google to not just Google what's the closest Walmart, to Google populations of certain areas, to Google different problems that society faces. What are different statistics? Whether it's self-improvement literature, whether it's how to do mathematical formula literature, whether it's something in my job field. Every time you Google, what you do is you search a book. And so, embracing that and adapting and keeping your mind in a forward-thinking way is more important, in my opinion, than picking a college. I think at your hands, in your phone, and in the updated phone, in the best phone I think available. I think that's what I recommend. The highest grade. I lean towards Samsung. I like Android. I don't like iPhone. I have an iPad, but I don't like it. So, but whatever you did, either one, again, I wouldn't go more than 2 years. Why? Because at any time you can get more information from your phone than you can from a college professor. The college professor only has one brain, and he has his own, or she has her own opinion and perspective that they're going to present you with certain information. Your phone has the brain of everyone who has ever written anything or documented anything in this entire world's history. And there's many different perspectives, etc., etc. And for $1,000, if that was the max phone, whatever it is now, probably close to $1,000, paying for a new phone, it's worth every penny. And it's not foolish. Some people mock it. Anyone who mocks spending a lot of money on a phone is, to me, I think they're foolish, in my opinion. And I see people suffer. I know people that are great plumbers and they wanted to get a job at Home Depot. They had a tremendous amount of knowledge. They could have really helped Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever hardware store, but they couldn't get the job, and they didn't. And then they got upset and they didn't want the job because they couldn't interface with the technology tablets that they had to work with in the hardware store to document the inventory, to track sales, to do their time card. And like I said, if I don't care if you work in Walmart or if you work on Wall Street, technology is embedded in society, just like the industrial era the machinery started to embed its way everywhere in society. And taking away your kid's phone is taking away their future. And not investing in your phone or not investing in any piece of technology to a certain level is taking away from your future. There'll always be the irresponsible. I'm not speaking to them. I'm speaking to the people who want to go forward and who want to grow and who want to focus on healthy, good conversation and a good mindset. All right, I'm going to get to some live comments. That was what was really on my heart to share. And go back. I know I was. Joe says, Joe Humphreys from the UK. How come you're so late on the stream, man? How's life treating you? Yeah, I was a little bit late because I had to work today. And then when I got off of work, I just spent some quality time with myself to recharge. This is the end of my work week. And I've noticed I've gone live in different times. I've noticed it is a little bit better to go live later towards the night. And I like to leave myself that flexibility depending on how I'm feeling. Because the best thing I can do to go live is take care of myself and then go live when I'm ready. But I understand for you in the UK it's a little bit late, so I'm sorry about that, Joe. But that's kind of my mindset towards it. On how am I feeling? I feel great. I feel very thankful. I'm thankful for my health. I feel like overall I had a positive week, and I feel encouraged. I feel like I'm growing. I feel like I'm maturing, and that's I love that. I'm very thankful for that. So appreciate it, Joe. Meadow from the Philippines says, You have 9 cats? She says she has 9 cats. Cat lady here. My mom and I take care of them. All neutered and they're old. I'm not planning to adopt new ones. Well, Meadow, thank you for sharing. 9 cats is a lot. I made a video one time, and I love pets. I think all pets, I think pets are a blessing. I love dogs specifically, but I love cats too. And God bless you, Meadow. Now, I made a video earlier on in my YouTube days, and I said, in my opinion, I don't think anyone should have more than 2 animals. I think once you have more than 2 animals or 2 pets, the pets begin to run the house, and you don't have enough time or energy to focus on yourself. I think when you don't have enough time or energy to focus on yourself, I think it becomes an unhealthy environment. I saw that in my life growing up when we started to graduate from 1 dog to 2 dogs, and then my mom got 3 dogs. And the dogs were a blessing in the house, but what it did was there wasn't enough time and energy to properly take care of them and take care of us, and the house got very messy, disorganized, and it was still a loving household, which I thank God for, but the environment was a little bit unhealthy. Joe kind of asked me why I went live so late, and kind of the core of my answer was I needed a certain amount of time to get myself in a good mental place and decompress from work. And 9 cats is a lot of responsibility. 9 animals is a lot of responsibility. So, that's what comes to mind when you share that. I love you, Meadow. I respect you. But these are just my thoughts. It's almost like a hoarding mentality. And it could be that can be harmful to your mental health. In addition to it takes time away from you caring for your physical health, it can also hurt your mental health. And it could put you in a bad place. At least this is my experience. I'm not speaking to your experience. But from my experience growing up and seeing other people live that type of life, because there's just really no way to take care of that amount of animals. And the other thing I learned, and then I'll go to the next comment, is when I grew up, once we got more than 2 dogs, the animals, once you get more than 2 of them, they begin to run in a pack. And they're no longer pets. Now they're really in their environment of in the wild. When you have 9 cats, when you have 5 dogs, they're no longer domesticated animals. They're now pack-orientated animals, and they gravitate towards their wild, primitive habits. This is my experience. Everyone may have their own experience. And I also have seen many people that I've worked with, um, men specifically, suffer in relationships with their wives that had many cats specifically, and the house would be dirty, there would be pee everywhere, and it would be another reason for a fight, another reason for an argument, and it would hurt the environment in their household, because there wasn't enough time to dedicate to their relationship. There more time had to be put into the animals, and they couldn't take care of themselves, their relationship plus the animals. So, but thank you for sharing. Love and respect to you, Meadow. I appreciate you. May West from Brooklyn. Hey, Sam. Hello to you, beautiful. I hope you're doing well, May. Renee, positive Renee. Hey, Sam, with the smiley face emoji. Thank you, Renee. Hello to you. I hope you had a good week. God bless you and May. NDC. Love the attitude, Sam. Peace and love to you, NDC. I love and appreciate you, man. Thank you for checking in, brother. Edison Eagle. South Edison's in the house. I agree. He says, I can trace my career back to early interest in video games. On the other, what about the argument that kids don't get outside as much, don't get as much face-to-face social interaction? Good question, Edison Eagle. My opinion of that is I don't personally buy into that argument, because I use my phone all the time and I'm outdoors more than 90% of society. So I think it goes back to what type of person are you dealing with. You're always going to have a certain percentage of the population that, whether if they have a phone or no phone, they're not going to live a healthy lifestyle. So, and there's always going to be, like I did too, you're going to have years of immaturity. So there were certainly years when I played video games that I was in the house, but I also played a lot of basketball and football outside. So I did all those things. And as you grow and as you mature, you have to learn how to balance them better. And that just comes with time. It doesn't matter how much your parents argue at you. So, I'm not against people putting a little bit of a limit on it. I'm not against that, but I don't believe in that mindset of it's just an entertainment tool. When you say I'm going to take your phone away from you, it's kind of like, or take your video games away from you. It's kind of like it's just an entertainment tool. It's not just, it's a resource. And you take away a person's resource, it almost hurts them. But I don't buy that. I see society more engaged than ever. I spend most of my time outdoors. Of course, I live an odd life. I live out of my Jeep Renegade, so it's a little bit odd. But I did not affect me. I played a lot of different sports outdoors, and I played a lot of video games. I do a lot on my phone currently in my adult life, and I spend a lot of time outdoors. So I think it's somewhat relative to the person. I think you're always going to have a percentage of people that just abuse anything. But I think overall, with the right mindset and developing a right mindset, that a piece of technology is a resource. And it starts as early as video games, tablet playing, etc., etc. Again, I can't stress just the benefit of knowing how to use the cables in back of my gaming console to the TV, and just understanding that whole process was the beginning foundation of embracing technology. I mean, now most things are wireless, but just, rebooting a tablet, downloading apps, manipulating the apps, different coding to do different things with different applications. I mean, that's today's world. It's just overall wisdom. Certainly there's always needs to be a level of balance to everything, and balance is always relative to a specific person and their personality. But I don't fully buy into that argument. I mean, reading a tablet is no different than reading a newspaper, right? If you think about it, society for years, they loved their physical printed out newspaper and magazines, and they would keep their face in that magazine and that newspaper forever until they finished reading it. People would spend all Sunday reading a newspaper. What's the difference between spending all Sunday reading your newspaper versus all Sunday reading your tablet or reading your phone? It's the same thing. But it's a fighting of a evolved mind, a fighting of a forward-thinking society that sometimes there's a resistance, not because there's good or bad, but because people have the major issue that human nature has is adapting to change. And throughout society, because like I said, in a couple decades, it'll be a different era. It won't be a technology era, it'll be something else. But since the beginning of time, people who have succeeded the most on average are people who adapt the quickest to change. And I believe in that. And so, that's my thoughts on it. Good question. Sailing John. Hey, Sam. Yeah, my part-time job buying new electronics for navigation. Amen. Amen, John. Good to see you, brother. Sailing John from New Jersey, living on his boat. A regular viewer. I appreciate him. Love and respect to you, brother. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, too. I know a couple people that have boats, and same thing with driving a car. You know, one of the biggest features that has allowed me to drive up and down the east coast of America is having Google Maps and being able to plan out and route my different paths on my different travels and not get lost and be efficient with my time. Uh, all the way down to, seeing where the cheapest gas is. I mean, you can do so many different things. Ray was in here yesterday talking about there's an app that you can use to see what Walmarts you can camp at. All these different things that you can do. If you were staying at a conventional hotel, if you were booking, there was different. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking at booking an air flight to somewhere. I was gonna, do the air reservation right online. I went to the website for the airline. I looked at all the incoming and outgoing flights to the area that I need to go, and you can do that all on your phone, all on your phone. That's a huge benefit. That's a huge time saver. It's efficiency. You can price shop, etc., etc. You can even rent your car. You can book a whole package of a travel, whether it's for business or personal, right through your phone. So that's an asset. And whether you're sailing a boat or whether you're driving your car, if you didn't have Google Maps, it would really be a lot harder. That's why a lot of times my mom can't go on a lot of long-term trips now, because she's just not adapted to any type of new technology phone, so she doesn't understand how to use Google Maps, and so it limits her traveling, not just because she's older, but because her going to an unknown place and not being able to navigating and having to go to a gas station and ask for directions, it would be a little bit too inefficient and unsafe for her at her age. Renee, technology is awesome! Exclamation mark. I love the self-checkout, but I disagree regarding taking away my son's phone. When he was younger, he felt like he was entitled to have the phone. Well, thank you for sharing that, Renee, and I appreciate that. And then she also says, but I did give it back and explain to him the responsibility and the cost. And then she gave the smile emoji face. I hear that, and thank you for sharing, Renee. I appreciate it. Meadow, I agree, Sam. Vet visits are stressful. I've been through there. We realized that a few years ago and stopped adopting. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you, Meadow, for sharing. Thank you for your heart. Because I know that anyone, too, that has that amount of animals has a heart and has an extreme amount of compassion. I mean, as I mature, certainly I have my days where I get frustrated and I get passionate. But as I mature, a loving person, I mean, it's to be honored. Somebody who has a level of compassion and empathy. I mean, that's even, to me, I mean, it's even more important than intelligence. Because, you can be very intelligent, very wise, but if you don't have any compassion in your heart, if you don't have any empathy, now sometimes you got to kick some ass. You understand what I'm saying? But you also have to have a foundation of love and empathy and compassion, and grace and mercy. Without that, the world would be shit. It doesn't matter how intelligent or how knowledgeable you are. If you didn't have the gift of love and compassion, the world would be horrible. Because a mathematical formula will not fulfill you. You understand what I'm saying? There's a special quality of love and compassion. And I find that very deeply embedded in people who have animals, specifically a lot of animals. Not all the time, there's always exceptions. But obviously, I was just saying that if you get too many animals, it gets out of balance, because when I see now, specifically with my mother, when I've seen people with too much emotion, too much love, too much compassion, it breeds an enabling spirit. An enabling spirit neglects themselves and enables others to do unhealthy behavior. And sometimes too much love and compassion without enough discipline and structure creates an environment for chaos. And it's a tough balance. Now, I don't believe in all discipline. I don't believe in all structure. Again, I believe creativity is a free-flowing, non-controlling spirit. There has to be a little bit of structure, a little bit of discipline. And that's what keeps you from going into an unhealthy place, keeps you from not enabling. It keeps you from being okay. it keeps your self-confidence levels up, because people aren't always going to agree with you. People aren't always going to like you, no matter how nice and compassionate, no matter how you are. So you have to have something inside you that says, look, even if these people don't like me, I'm good. You understand what I'm saying? You have to have that. But then you also have to say, look, am I hurting people? It's a balance. uh, but I totally agree with you, and I totally agree too, Meadow, about the cost for veterinarian cost. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and he has a beautiful dog, Dover Pinscherman, I believe it is, and he just had to have knee surgery. The dog, he has long legs, and it was $1,500 basically for the knee surgery. Um, and that's just one thing. I mean, like I say, if I did the cost when I had my dog, I spoiled my dog. I got her like treats every day, and I got her like a stuffed animal like every day. So I think I spent on average, I think I did the math one time, rough numbers, when I had my dog. I think it added $400 if I averaged everything on a yearly basis, $400 extra a month. Now certainly you can do it cheaper, but I like to spoil my dog. Um, so dogs, pets, animals, cats, mice, whatever, they're a huge blessing in your life. They give you love. But it's also a huge responsibility, not just with your time, but also with your finances. You got to think about that. And so it's good. It's all part of the journey. All part of the journey. And I was walking through Walmart earlier today too, and what I was looking at is the different laptops they have now, and of course the different TVs. And now it's more Chromebooks than laptops. Even the like Windows laptops, those are out. And now like every manufacturer makes Chromebooks, whether it's Acer, whether it's HP, whether it's Samsung. And even the whole Windows thing, unless you're doing serious, Word documentation or different Microsoft Office programs, those are all going away. And now, Google even has other like mirrored platforms for that. So I was looking at that. But the price point of them, compared to the phone, compared to a TV, it's still, dirt cheap. It's a couple $100 for a new Chromebook, couple $100 for a new TV, $1,000 for a new phone. So that shows you, what's more valuable. And there's a reason why it's more money. It's a better grade resource, more flexible. A lot of times has a greater processor, etc., etc. So just something to reflect on as we go forward. But other than that, I feel very good. I'm looking forward to a couple of days off here and keep my creative juices flowing. Renee, yep, I love my dog, but this is Renee on the live comments. Yep, I love my dog, but so many things to do. Vet, grooming, training, almost as expensive as a child. Laugh out loud. Then she gave the laugh emoji. I totally agree. That's why I decided not to have another one. I mean, for several reasons. One is, again, when my dog died, it felt like my child died. It took a piece of my soul with it. I don't wish that on anyone, especially if you got to put a dog down. It's horrible. Or a cat or whatever. And it also taught me a huge lesson on responsibility. It gave me a little bit of a compassion for my parents. Because, when you're a child, you tend to think that your parents are supposed to be Superman and Superwoman. And then when you get older, and whether you have your own child or whether you have your own pet, you have something else you take care of, you realize how hard it is to take care of another living being. And coming home after work, after a long day, and you're stressed out, and then you got to walk the dog, and you got to pay for vet costs, you got to pay for food, and there's some days where you fail as a caretaker, and it makes you have compassion on others. And it's all part of the process. Linda from Florida. Hey to all. Hey to you, Linda. How are you doing? I hope you're doing good. You're looking forward to well, you're already in the weekend. My weekend starts today, but it's Saturday for you. So I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I hope you're having a good time off to recharge your batteries. And the weekend is so important to recharge your batteries mentally, physically, emotionally, in a creative way, in every way. That's what we were sharing with Meadow on, having enough time to take care of pets and also yourself. And, when you're off of work, now, I mean, of course, in a technology era, everyone's on a different work cycle. So the weekend Doesn't necessarily mean you have off when it's a Saturday. But for many people, the weekends are still time when they have off of work. And the biggest thing I've learned as I matured is how to take time for yourself to get yourself back in a good place so you can be a better employer, you can be a better boss, you can be a better entrepreneur, you can be a better creative person, you can be a better lover, you can be whatever. You know, the time when you have off and utilizing that time efficiently to take care of your physical well-being, going to a gym, walking, getting outside, to take care of your creative mind, your place of imagination, doing art, doing videos, and to take care of just your personal time of reflection, thinking about your life, thinking about, where you were in life, where you're at, where you want to be, your goals, your aspirations. That's all part of that recharge time that should take place when you're off on the weekends or whenever your days are that you're off. Because how you keep yourself inspired is learning to recharge yourself and put yourself in a good space where you're not exhausted. Some people live their entire life just being exhausted, stretching themselves too thin and going from one thing to another, and their life is all a blur at the end. And learn to take time for yourself to recharge your batteries. You are the ultimate piece of technology. Just like your phone, you can't operate properly without the proper battery charge. And you need to take care of yourself well. Your batteries need to be charged just like your phone. And a lot of people, the sad thing is, a lot of people pay more attention to their cell phone battery charge than they do their own battery charge. And that's when, to Edison Eagle's point, and other people who kind of asked that, what do you think about people, and Renee, who use the phone but don't get enough time outside, etc., etc. Well, I think that's their priorities are wrong. Now, I don't think it would matter if they had a phone or if they had a cave stick. I think when your priorities are wrong, then nothing matters. So this topic is a topic that's based on top of a foundation. I make videos talking about priorities, talking about a healthy spiritual life, mind, body, and soul. So this video and technology isn't meant to be put as a foundational piece of your life. But after you've laid the foundation of the proper priorities, seeking God in your life, seeking a spiritual life, taking care of your physical health as best you can, taking care of your mental health, spending time with people that inspire you, don't drain you. Then on top of that, then you add technology as a resource after you've done the foundational work. Then you're even 10 times better, because now you have the brain capacity of all those different things that you can get through your phone, and that's just a benefit to you. Back to some live comments. Renee says, but now she's talking still about her dog, but she was also a good excuse to leave a gathering. Gotta go walk my dog, laugh out loud. I hear that. And me, as somewhat of an introvert, I would go to an event, and after 10 minutes being there, I would look for an excuse to leave, because I'm restless. I don't like staying in the same spot. I often say these live feeds are pretty much the most I sit in one spot for my entire day. And that's why I usually tend to do them at the end of the day when I'm tired, because I have to keep moving. I don't like to be still too long. It doesn't sit well with me, and I don't like to be around a lot of people talking about nothing. It's not my thing. Some people like it. And a dog is also, or a pet or an animal, it was also good for me to get me social, because I tend to be more recluse. So I used to walk my dog around my community, and I would get out, talk to people. And it would also, at that time, I was very unhealthy physically. And it would help me to get some exercise walking my dog. Not enough. I was still morbidly obese, but it was helpful. It was the start of at least getting outside more, walking more. Now, sometimes I hated that, especially in the winter when it was snowing. But those are the different things, that I think about when I think about having a dog and walking. Tammy, my nephew played video games a lot as a kid. Everyone kept telling his parents it was bad for him to play video games. Now he works for Facebook, making 6 figures at 22 years old, period. Great comment, Tammy, and thank you for sharing. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Very similar to what my mother did for me, and many people said, don't let don't let your kid play too many video games. And now it's really not kids playing video games. Many people say don't let your kids play with the phone too much. And I think it's to their own downfall. Again, everything in proportion, and you still have to teach and you still have to live by the proper priorities. So I'm not saying, you just go reckless. But I think that's a great comment, Tammy, and I thank you for sharing. And I just think it's something to be mindful of. Again, everyone has their own unique journey. I'm not telling anyone how to live. I'm sharing what's on my spirit. I'm sharing my journey. And I'm also just sharing around the general mindset of we're in a technology era. A general mindset of technology can be a huge asset. Anything from getting out of the supermarket quicker because you have the flexibility to know how to use the self-checkout and to have Samsung Pay, to have Apple Pay, and to be able to use that without carrying your credit card everywhere, to being able to having the confidence and the willingness to spend more money on your phone than you do a piece of furniture, and knowing that it's a good investment. Then using your phone, knowing how to use apps and how to upload a resume on your phone, how to research different things on your phone. I mean, that's a huge benefit, and it just helps you. I mean, think about all the medical advice and all the different things that you could. Now, certainly when I was sick and when I pinched a nerve in my chest and I thought I was having a heart attack, now I was looking up a lot of stuff online on my laptop, and it kind of scared me more, because then you get sick and you start to look up all the different things that can be online. You get scared, you're scared out of your mind. So certainly, that could hurt you a little bit. But you know what? When I went to the emergency room, and I had at least an understanding of what it may be. And then when a doctor tells you something, then you can go back and you can research online. You can go right on your phone. You don't have to go home and boot up your desktop. You can go right into the parking lot of your doctor's office and you can cross-reference what he said. Many times doctors are just giving an opinion. Why do you think they say seek a second opinion? A doctor can have 15 years worth of schooling. The general rule of thumb is seek a second opinion. So, and a lot of times to seek a second opinion, yes, you may have to go to another doctor's office, but you having some foundational knowledge of what's going on with your body by searching on your phone, and then, looking at reviews of different doctors on your phones. I mean, all that is just, again, and I'm just talking now in general terms on a mindset of technology and a mindset of not just having it, but every day going a little bit further in your understanding of it, right? Because even me, I'm very versed in it to some. I mean, there's plenty of people sure to know way. When I started to go live on YouTube, I didn't even really know how to scroll on the comments on my phone. So, there's people that know more than me, etc., etc. But what I'm trying to say is, every day you do something different and you learn a little bit more, and you don't get scared of doing something different. Somebody once told me, again, when I first started playing around with computers, is I was scared. It said, Sam, don't be scared of a computer. There's not really anything you can do to hurt it. Really, 99% of the time, the only thing you may have to do is restart your computer, but you're really not going to damage it. It's really just a viewing machine for the most part, okay? And that helped me relieve some fear, knowing that I wasn't going to hurt anything by playing with it. You understand what I'm saying? And you have to go through that experience of just, it's just like traveling. I also say, once in a while you have to get out of your 30-mile radius of your house. Once in a while you have to get away from just the applications that you know how to use, and you have to use a new application. And you have to try to, now you're very versed in using your phone for YouTube, but you still don't have Samsung Pay, and you don't know how to use it when you go to the grocery store. Go a little bit further than what you know, and keep doing that consistently over time. There's always going to be people. There's plenty of people that know more about stuff than me on technology. But what I'm trying to say is just a mindset of embracing it, and not being afraid to learn a little bit more, and trying a little bit more, and spending money on it, and not feeling guilty about it. And that's what I'm thinking of tonight. Renee, what do you think about being able to transfer money to friends instead of giving cash? When one of you pays, that's something I'm still getting used to. Well, if I did do that, I pay all my bills online. If I did do that, I would do it through PayPal. I have not giving any friends money online, but I've donated to people online through PayPal, and I feel safe with that and secure. It's basically the same thing as paying a bill online. Now, obviously, I try to keep all my, if I donate or if I give money, I give it, but well, I like it. Overall, I like it. I mean, obviously, I try to keep money and friends, all that separate, but I like it. Why? Because it's digital documentation. I like digital documentation. I like doing things online through a secure platform such as PayPal. You get a confirmation number, you get a confirmation email. Your banking information is secured. I mean, you expose more of your banking information when you write a check. When you write a check, on the bottom of your check is your routing number and your bank account number. When you do it through PayPal, from my understanding of it, it's just a secure payment and they don't see that information. You get a confirmation number. For me personally, I like that better. Can anything happen bad with anything? Yes. There's no guarantees in life. There's only risk management. But me personally, I would feel comfortable with that using a platform such as PayPal, etc. NDC. I can watch our city hall meetings via live feed. Very good point. And keep completely informed and up to date with each committee is doing. It's great. Oh, that's a great point, NDC. I totally agree with that. Totally agree. Good point. Now the only thing with that is I'll say is that I used to watch that when I had TV. I would watch like some of the like the township meetings. There's a lot of hot air at those things, but that's any politics. But I agree with what you're saying. Same thing with a church event. Same thing, with I know people are streaming live from the RTR. I mean, same thing with anything. So you make an excellent point, and I agree with you. Oh my God, Ripper Rip, that's my guy Jackie. Love and respect to Jackie. Peace and love to you, brother. Ripper Rip says most banks let you do it with email info only. Definitely, yeah, I agree with that. Now again, I haven't done too much transfer with friends, etc., etc. So I won't speak ill of that. But yeah, there's so many different ways that you can do that online through your phone. And either way, whether you do it through some type of email, whether you do it through PayPal, uh, through a bank, through some type of platform that secures your information, I just think it's wisdom because you get that confirmation. And like if you let somebody, if you pay a bill cash, or if you give somebody cash to pay a bill or something like that, I mean, you take more risk on like that, in my opinion. Um, or even if you write a check, and you give it to somebody, I mean, you don't get a confirmation number when you write a check and give it to somebody. Yes, there's that check platform out there, but that's why I like it. I mean, it's just it's the word we're in, and it's just a greater resource to you. I mean, even I don't really get checks anymore, but even when I first started when phones first started having cameras on them and stuff, I remember when I still got checks, what I would do is I would take a picture of that check and I would direct deposit it right to my bank. I can't tell you the last time I stepped foot in a bank. I think the last time I physically went inside of a bank was when I closed on my house. Um, just to, whatever documentation I had to do inside the bank. And even that I could have did, through my phone. I signed my house sale contract over my phone. I didn't print out 20 pages of a contract and handwrite them. At the closing, we all sat down at the table and we did the notarized thing and everything like that. But even the past couple big contracts, the past couple big deposits I had to do via check, I did that all on my phone through uploading it to the bank, and I did that all through a digital signature with my finger, signing the contract and then sending it via email. And I felt great. I mean, I have files in my email account that keep certain documents. So now I live full time out of my car. I don't have like a library like I used to have in my house. Like I had a study or a library where I keep, certain records, tax records and things like that. I mean, now if I have an important piece of documentation I need to keep, I take a picture of it with my phone. I send an email to myself and I attach that picture. And then it's saved in the cloud. It's saved, forever, even if I change my phone. So, those type of things, they're a resource. They're a blessing to you. Now you don't need it. You don't need to go to Staples and buy a 5-drawer filing cabinet. You know what I mean? And lug that shit around. I had a couple of them back in the day at my house, and they were just a dust collector. You don't need that shit now. You just take a picture. or you scan something, you send yourself an email, and you got that thing forever. Doesn't matter how many different phones you go through or whatever. And it's just a huge blessing, man. Good to see you, Jackie. Renee says, true, we are moving towards a cashless society, definitely. Now I collect foreign paper money because it's pretty. Smiley face. I hear that. I've never had foreign paper money. I've never experienced that, so that's pretty cool. Meadow from the Philippines, I prefer the two-way verification where they text you a code before charging your account. I pay my bills online too. Okay, I don't think I've done the two-way verification thing, but that's a good point, Meadow. Good point. Yeah, there's different ways to do different verifications. I mean, now I know the different phones, they have facial recognition, they have text. Like my phone has a fingerprint recognition. So like for me, I mean, to get to my phone, I mean, you have to have my fingerprint. I mean, it's like, technology is, that's what I mean. I mean, technology is just so embedded in society. Whether you work with your hands or whether you work in an office, it really doesn't matter. You still need a high-end phone, in my opinion, and you still need to be able to utilize it. I think even if you worked in construction, I think even if you worked in construction, that's how I started my career. Even if you worked in construction, your greatest tool is not going to be anything in your tool belt. It's going to be your phone. I remember, in my contracting days when I had my own business, and the phones were just starting to have the capability to like Google stuff and shit like that. And I would go to a house and, if I forgot to wire a three-way switch or if I had a question about the electrical code, what would I do? I would just search it on my phone. That was the greatest asset I had. Here I am in a construction industry running a contracting thing, and the greatest resource I had wasn't my pliers, it wasn't my tape measure, it wasn't my hammer, it was my phone to understand building codes, to understand wiring diagrams, to get different, to go into a chat forum and get different people's opinion, because there's knowledge and then there's interpretation of knowledge. So you have to get different opinions. And I mean, so again, the mindset of not being a rigid mind where, and that's what I'm kind of talking about with the title of this video, taking your kid's phone away may hurt them. That's a mindset that I'm referencing. And a person who has a mindset of, I'm going to take away this piece of technology to teach you a lesson, is like, it's like, it's not that, it's this, when you take away a piece of technology, you're not taking away a doll. Like, if you take away a doll or if you took away a person's transformer, when they were a kid, like that's their toy. You understand what I'm saying? A phone, you have to view it differently. It's not a toy. Yes, it's a form of entertainment for texting, for watching YouTube, I mean, for different things it can be. But that's just one aspect of technology is entertainment. It's also knowledge. It's also being connected. It's also directions. It's also financial. Entertainment is only one slice of the pie. So when you have that mindset, you don't feel silly spending $1,000 on a phone. I mean, when I see someone mock another person for spending a lot of money on a phone, I know for me, I make my own discernment on who's the foolish one. Like I said, if I had a choice between spending $1,000 on a phone or a couch, even when I had a house, I mean, a phone is a hands down winner. Phone is your greatest resource in today's society for information, for being connected, for financial, and certainly for entertainment. Entertainment's part of life. You need entertainment. Fuck, you want to, what I mean? Be a millionaire and be rigid and have no fun? You got to have a little entertainment. Shit. And in my opinion, I spend more money in the strip club than I ever did looking on shit on YouTube or looking at porn on YouTube. And so what's better? Let me tell you something. If you think your kid's not going to be young and go to parties and go to clubs, whether they have a phone or they don't, I mean, you haven't grown up. I mean, your kids are still going to be kids. So kids are still going to go to parties they shouldn't go to. They're still going to drink when they shouldn't drink. They're still going to go to like different, that's all part of adolescence. And to be honest with you, probably better that they have a phone to call your ass or to help, call for help when they're in a thing, rather than to fucking be sending a smoke signal up in the air or sending a bat signal up for Batman. So these are my thoughts for tonight, and what I was reflecting on. Don't feel guilty spending money on technology. I think it's a great investment. I think I see a lot of people spend money on like investing in different stocks or investing in different things, and they don't realize. I think start with your phone. Invest there. Let me get back to some comments here. Renee says, I love my phone, but I can't stand, and in all caps, all the factory installed apps. It would be nice to pick the ones you want. Well, Renee, do you have an iPhone? Because an iPhone comes with a lot of factory installed apps. I know that because I have an iPad, but I don't have an iPhone. Now, I have an Android, I have a Samsung, and you can put any apps you want on there, and it still comes with some factory installed ones. But the interface with Androids are more you can customize it more than you can with an iPhone. Oh, and Renee says she has a Samsung, so that's interesting to me. That you say that, but I hear your voice. I hear your opinion. NDC. Sam, which model phone inspires you today? And if you have plans to upgrade, what inspires you there? Good question, NDC. Thank you for that question. Well, currently I have a Samsung Galaxy 8 Plus. What inspires me right now is I'm looking forward to the Samsung Galaxy 9, which should be out in the United States of America. It's supposed to be out at the end of February, early March. So in about a month and a half, I'll be upgrading my phone once that comes out. I don't like iPhone, so that doesn't inspire me. I know there's some other Android and some Google phones that recently came out. But for me, for my opinion, this is somewhat personal preference. For me, I'll be getting the Sam. That's what I'm looking forward to in about a month and a half. I can't wait to get the new one. Not that it's going to be a huge, dramatically different, but they all have incremental improvements. And for me too, I use it not only just for my job, but also for creativity, for my videos, for my pictures, and then for everything else that I've talked about tonight that I use. So I'm looking forward to that. And I also realized that at a certain point, again, it's not about there's going to be one dramatic change in this phone. But what you will realize is that if you go 2 years without upgrading your phone and then you get a new phone, you'll see how those incremental changes added up over 2 years, and now you're like left behind. And so that's what, now, again, I think the iPhone is a little bit static, where I think Android is more fluid. Okay. So for me, like if I was still on a 2 year lag with my cell phone and I got a new Samsung today, I think I would feel behind, and it would take me a while to adapt. But what about you, NDC? What type of phone do you have, and what inspires you? Renee, yep, time to upgrade, and a smiley face, yeah. Yep. And that's good. Renee, what type of phone do you have? Other than Samsung, like what series? And I'm curious, Meadow, if you're still in the chat room, what type of phone do you have? I'm curious to different people from around the world what different type of phones they have. And Joe, too, I don't know if Joe from the UK is still in the chat room. I know it's late for him. I'm curious what type of phone you have. Because I would like to see what the comparison is versus people who live in the United States and then people from different parts of the world. Linda says, good night to all. I can't stay up. Sorry. That's all right. Taking care of yourself and having a healthy sleep cycle is wisdom. Peace and love, Linda. Have a great night. Thank you for joining. Renee, no, serious. And then all caps, prime. Awful. I don't know. Is that a prime phone? I don't know that one. Yeah. Things are looking up. Things are good. I mean, now with cars too. That's the other part about cars, and that was even part of the reason why I got the Trailhawk edition with the bigger interface of the Trailhawk navigation model of the Renegade car, the Jeep Renegade. It had a bigger dashboard screen and a little bit more technology features, and that was part of my car selection. So for me going forward, to a certain extent, part of the technology interface with my car is a huge part of my thought process and selection, somewhat. I mean, think about Teslas. I mean, what really makes them attractive to people? They're still outrageously priced, in my opinion. But what makes them attractive is not really the battery. I mean, there's been electric cars for a long time now. Now, certainly they're an advanced electric car, but what makes them attractive to people is the technology interface with Teslas. That's what makes them cutting edge. It's not the batteries per se, it's the technology interface, and that's a huge part of where we're at. Renee says Samsung Prime awful. I don't know that phone. I have to look that up. Yeah, thank you for that review. Yeah, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know Samsung had a phone called Prime. I have to look that up. Thanks, Renee. Yeah, good deal. Yeah, and I just use my Bluetooth, when I because now I don't have a TV or anything. But when I did, before I sold my house, I cut my cord, cut my cable, and I would watch YouTube on my phone, and then I would kick it to my big screen TV, and that was it. And then now when I'm in my car, I use my Bluetooth and I watch YouTube. I listen to YouTube through the speakers in my car. Um, and so just that interface, how the phone just plays off everything else, is just key for me. I mean, and now too, I know somebody about a month ago that they had locked their keys in their car, and they had a new car. They just bought it this year or last year, 2017. And so they locked their keys in their car, and they didn't know what to do. They were going to call AAA. They were actually in a process, and then they spoke to my friend. He goes, don't you have OnStar or something like that? And he goes, yeah. He goes, don't call AAA. He goes, just call the OnStar number or whatever type of like a platform he had in his car, and the car had that service. So he called up the OnStar and he said, I locked my keys in the car, and they just unlocked it. And he said, next time you don't even need to call a hotline. Just go to our app on your phone, and you can look right into your car's interface, and you can just unlock your car from your phone. You don't need to call us, and you don't need to call AAA. And so that's where we're at in society. I mean, I know a few people that a guy that I work with, he uses his phone to adjust his central air and heat in his house. Like he was on the phone with his wife the other day, and his wife said, I'm getting ready to pick up the kids. Can you please turn the heat on in the house? And he logged on to his phone. He logged on to his interface with his thermostat, and he turned his heat up. And that's the world we're living, where your phone cannot just watch YouTube, but it can set the temperature in your house. It can open up your car when you lock your keys in the car. It can upload a resume. It can research a disease. It can give you directions. And it can check social media. I mean, it can do all those things. Meadow says, I tried taking videos from a mountain resort yesterday. How do you stop the videos from being too shaky? Good question. The newer phones, the very new ones now have video stabilization. Mine, I don't know if mine does. I've never discovered that feature on my phone. I think the new ones will. So if you're doing it from your phone and doesn't have video stabilization, the only way you can do it is once you upload it to YouTube. If you're going to upload to YouTube, YouTube does have a video stabilization editing software. And also if your phone doesn't have it, there's different editing softwares that can somewhat stabilize it. It may distort the video graphics a little bit. But that's how you can do it if your camera or phone doesn't have that. But other than that, you either have to hold it better, or you have to get like some type of tripod holder that would be a little bit more stable. Those would be your options. And finally, and I'll go to the next comment, what I would say to Meadow is I would upload it anyway. Even if you can't figure out how to not get it on shaky, upload it anyway. Why? I'm under the belief that start now and refine as you go. In life, your biggest obstacle is not doing something because it's not perfect. Do it now, do it sloppy, do it messed up, and it gives you a mindset of, I'm going to do this thing even if it's not perfect, and I'll just keep getting better as I go. It's the people that wait till they shoot the perfect video, they wait till their resume's perfect, they wait till they record their voice 20 times before they want to make their song. I mean, just do it. Hit start, let it be sloppy, let your voice sound like shit, and just upload it. And then over time you get better, but you have a mindset of, I'm doing it, and I'm going forward. I'm not going to wait for the perfect conditions. NDC says, I have a Samsung Galaxy S5 and I am surrounded by iPhone 8 at work. I hear that. NDC. Meadow, I bought an Oppo F5 yesterday. My mom broke my old phone on Christmas and she didn't mean it. That's all right. Well, you got to forgive mom. You can't get mad at mom too long. That's the general rule of life. So congratulations on your new phone, Meadow. And I look forward to your new videos, Meadow. I want you to keep uploading. I've watched a couple of your videos. I really enjoy watching you play your guitar and sing. I also watch a couple of the cat things. Keep being creative. I can't stress enough that creativity, imagination, and using that gift, using that part of your brain and part of your spirit is a huge part of self-improvement. And I encourage people of all walks of life, of all different gifts, whether if your gift is in the musical world, whether your gift is in construction, whatever. I mean, using a level of your creativity is really part of self-growth. Tammy says, I have a friend that watches her daughter when she's at daycare on her phone. Amen, Tammy, good comment. I also work with somebody who also does that. And when I had my dog, I had a camera, a wireless camera in her room, and I would watch my dog from my phone when I went to work, and that gave me extreme amount of comfort. So again, that's another benefit. That's a great point. I didn't even think to bring that up, so that's an excellent point. I think for a parent to be at work and to be able to monitor their child, whether it's at daycare or whether it's at their house or whatever, I think that's a huge peace of mind. I think that itself is worth $1,000 investment. For me, the comfort it gave me and the peace to watch my dog when I was at work, that was a huge blessing to me. And I'm sure it's the same thing for a parent with their child. So great point, Sammy. Excellent point. Another benefit of technology, another benefit of the phone. Excellent point. Excuse me, guys. I just wanted to take a little break. Yeah, but overall, I would say we're very blessed, very thankful, and I'm very much looking forward to next couple days and just being positive and just moving forward in my life, being thankful for the different blessings and growing, sharing with you guys. Fun part of my day every day. I really enjoy it, and that's cool, man. It's good to find different things in life that are healthy and good for you and that bring you some joy. Also bring you some knowledge. I mean, I learn things sharing. I fulfill a creative side of myself. I also fulfill a social side, and I also learn stuff. And I mature because, that's all part of that package. Renee says, how's work going? You back to your routine? Yes, been back now for a couple weeks, so I'm back to my routine. It is good to have somewhat of a routine. When I, work remotely for an extended period of time or when I'm on vacation, I enjoy that. I have enough self-discipline where I could do that. But there's also something to be said for a structured routine and like a normal flow. And I think, that I made a video about that when I first also started my YouTube channel, where I said, even if you live as a nomad, I think one of the things you need to keep from the conforming life is a structured routine. I think if you live mobile or if you work remotely, you can't abandon a level of a routine, because you need creativity, you need freedom, but you also need structure. And a routine is structured to keep you in a healthy cycle. And that's why I always say, I don't stay up past 10 p.m. on average, because that keeps me in a healthy sleeping cycle. I wasn't always like that. When I was immature, when I was young, I would be up all night, and sometimes I would break day, and that threw my whole cycle off. And that's why studies show that people who have that unhealthy routine, people who stay up on average past midnight, they have higher percentages of diabetes and obesity-related diseases, and they also have higher levels of mental depression. And that all ties in. And so to Renee's point of routine and settling into a routine. And even if you live an unconventional life, I still believe in a structured routine. Waking up by a certain time, like I say, doing certain things. I know that I have my most energy and my most focus between 8 a.m. to noon. And that's when I try to tackle the biggest tasks of my day. And then after noon, I start to taper down. And this is one of the last parts of my night before I start to shut it down. And I encourage you to find that place for you where you have a good flow and a routine, because I've been on the opposite end. And you get to a dark space when you're up all night, when you wake up late, and it's like the tail's wagging the dog, and you feel like you get caught behind the 8 ball and you just can't get ahead. So I've been there. I want to let you know that you can get out of that cycle. It's a little bit tougher when you work nights, because I've been there too. But I believe even if you work nights, if you mature to a certain level, because I've also been there, you can start to even structure a healthy routine around that. And that's all part of maturing. That's all part of growing. And I think it's a blessing to you if you can figure that out for yourself. Meadow, cool. Thanks, Sam. I haven't explored the video options yet. Yes, keep playing with it, Meadow, because that's what technology is. It's, again, there's a lot of people that know more than me, but how do you learn? By just playing with it. You're not going to hurt anything for the most part. 90% of the time, by you playing with your phone and trying to figure out different features, you're not going to hurt anything. And just never forget, too, there's always like the factory reset, right? If you screw up all your options on your phone and you have to get it back to where it started, you just go to your settings and you go reset the factory default. Just remember that in life, in most things in life, I think this is a general rule in life. Most times you're not going to hurt anything by trying to do something new. Worst case scenario is you have to do a reset. But in most cases, you're not going to hurt anything. So be willing to go beyond your normal apps. Be willing to go beyond your normal settings. Be willing to play with new different features, because that's all part of enhancing your mind, enhancing your knowledge, and also embracing technology. But again, it's more about what I'm sharing tonight. It's more about a mindset. It's a mindset of adaptation. It's a mindset of evolution. It's a mindset of growth. It's a mindset of forward thinking. Because again, there's people that are always going to know more than you. There's people that can run laps around me with coding and with different, So it's just what I'm sharing. It's just what's on my spirit. That being said, just thank everyone for joining, man, and for sharing and for building with me. You're very much appreciated, and we're definitely going to connect tomorrow, God willing. And pray you have a peaceful night. You keep it positive in your life. Keep healthy relationships. Keep yourself inspired. Talk well to yourself. Don't talk down to yourself. Talk well to yourself. And don't allow anyone in your life that doesn't talk well to you, because you are responsible to keep yourself in a healthy place, and you set the standard for your life. And I think that's key. Renee says, awesome to hear that. Gotta go walk the dog, laugh out loud. Night. Good night to you, Renee. And Sailing John gave me 2 smiley faces. Sailing John, peace and blessings to you, brother, on that sailboat. I'm with you in spirit. Have an awesome night. Listen to your music, brother. Stay inspired. Keep uploading your videos. I saw you got 103 subscribers. I checked on you. I think it was last night. Very proud of you. And Tammy says, have a great evening. Thank you, Tammy, for the great comments. Thank you, Meadow. Thank you, NDC. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Ripper Rip, my guy Jackie. Sailing John, Edison Eagle, May West, Joe from the UK, Fear, and everyone who joined. Meadow, pet the cats. For me tonight, I give you 9 cat emojis with a smiley face. And peace and love.